Kushina is a very underrated character in terms of power. Even as an academy student, she was already beating down genin, and as she grew older, she became a full-fledged jonin, presumably the strongest jonin in the village at the time, as I'll soon prove to you. The chakra chains she has access to are crazy strong, as they were able to hold down the entire full 9 tails, so power-wise, she's already way above anyone in Konoha, including Minato and Hiruzen. Her speed is also surprisingly great, as when Kurama attempted to kill baby Naruto, she reacted to his movements and jumped in front of his claw. Now, maybe Kurama was being slowed down by the chains that he was starting to break out of, but was still binded by. But here's the thing, Minato was there as well, and the interesting thing about him is that instead of grabbing Naruto out of the way of the attack, he instead chose to try to stop Kurama's claw, which implies that Minato, without flying Raijin, wasn't fast enough to get Naruto, pick him up, and move him out of the way. Kushina reacted at the same speed as Minato did and moved to intercept Kurama's attack at the same speed Minato did. Let that sink in. Kurama moved as fast as Minato, who is at least on par with KCM1 Naruto in terms of reaction speed. Now, he was almost out of chakra, but so was Kushina, and compare that to giving childbirth, then getting the strongest bijou ripped out of you. One of the most painful and exhausting experiences a human being can ever have, and a ritual that without fail kills anyone it's performed on instantly if they're not an Uzumaki. And Kushina is able to get through them both and then bind the entire Kyuubi with that massive nerf, and move as fast as a not so heavily nerfed Minato. Actually, she moved faster. It's shown that Kushina was further away from Naruto than Minato was, and yet she gets to Naruto first. Now, her raw movement speed might not be as great as KCM Naruto's, but still, Kushina's reaction speed is on par with KCM1 Naruto at least, and that's while she is 1 foot in the grave. And she's fast enough to keep up with base Minato without flying Raijin. But that's just Kushina's main body. Her chains are so fast that the full 9 tails wasn't able to react to them at all, and when this happened, Kushina was 1 foot in the grave after having the 9 tails ripped out of her. Kushina herself states that she had very little chakra left in that exchange too. And even a tiny amount of her chakra was able to restrict half of the 9 tails for a little bit from beyond the grave when Naruto tried fighting it. Kushina also has Uzumaki tier sealing jutsu. It's implied that Minato learned every sealing jutsu he knows, including the Reaper Death Seal, from Kushina. Actually, it's not implied, it's flat out stated. Kushina knows not only the Reaper Death Seal, but many others as well. She would be capable of sealing almost anything if she can seal the 9 tails. She also says that she'll seal the 9 tails into herself and drag it to the grave with herself when she has little chakra left, has just given childbirth, and had the Kyuubi ripped out of her. And she's able to restrain Kurama for a while in that heavily nerfed state too. Compare that to Hiruzen, who was just barely holding on against the 9 tails just minutes prior. Imagine how strong healthy Kushina would be if this half-dead Kushina is already above Hiruzen. Add this to the fact that Karin, who is stated to only show a glimpse of Kushina's power, doesn't even know how to use and control the chains at will, is able to completely decimate the 1,000 hand statue from Guru Guru Zetsu, the same one that was bullying the 5 Kage along with Edo, Hiruzen, and the entire Kyuubi amped Shinobi alliance. And that's stated to be just a glimpse of Kushina's true power. Hell, even Naruto states that his goal is to become a bigger badass than his father and a stronger shinobi than his mother, possibly implying that he considered Kushina to be a stronger shinobi than Minato. And looking at all the things I just said, I think it's actually pretty likely. In a fight, I feel like Minato might be able to blitz Kushina and slice her head off, but in terms of just generally who's stronger, I'd go for Kushina, to be honest, like 10 out of 10 times. Tendo Pain's over here struggling to contain just 8 tails of half of the Kyuubi, while this redhead over here is holding down the full Kyuubi while being 1 foot in the grave. The only real downside to Kushina is that she doesn't have any durability feats, so people who can either blitz her or avoid her chains in other ways would probably give her a very hard time. So with all that established, where do I think Kushina ranks among the Naruto characters? Well, I think there's really no doubt in my mind that she could solo the Akatsuki, just speed blitz and one-shot them all with the chains. The only real exception to that would be Obito. I mean, we're comparing a verse that struggles with just slivers of the Nine Tails chakra to someone who can outright restrain and seal the full thing while massively nerfed. At full power, she'd probably be able to restrain even Madara's perfect Susanoo for a while. So this is probably going to trigger some people, but I am inclined to place Kushina in the high legend tier alongside KCM2 Sage Mode Naruto and Edo Madara and Hashirama. She goes in that same above QB level weight class as them. Just to be clear, I do think some of the people lower than her could probably beat her. Obito with Kamui and Genjutsu, Itachi with Genjutsu, Minato and KCM Naruto might be fast enough to beat her, though that one is debatable. And on top of all that, Kushina has the full Nine Tails. Not just half, the full thing. Imagine if she had lived and maybe eventually befriended Kurama. A full QB avatar with the adamantium chains? She'd be slaying Madara, dude. And by the way, if you'd like to see how a world where Kushina survived might look like, I am planning to talk about a scenario where Kushina survives the Nine Tails attack. Maybe she could have become Hokage instead of Tsunade. How would the war go? Would the war even happen? How would the 5 Kage summit go? How would Sasuke interact with Naruto? So if you'd like to see how having this Uzumaki and Konoha would affect Naruto, the Uchiha clan, Orochimaru's assault, Kakashi and the other Jonin, the Akatsuki and so on, then please consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really would help me out a lot. But that has been it for me today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and see you next time. Goodbye.